Hey guys, Public here, back with another video for raid testing. This time I'm checking out Smolderon, which is the fourth boss that we tested in the heroic testing that came up here. This is much more of like a later end boss, so I think it's going to be like kind of like where Sludge Fist is or other bosses like that. So kind of later into the tier, definitely kind of like a wall DPS check boss for sure. On the surface, the boss is pretty simple. And honestly, it's just kind of rinse and repeating a lot of the mechanics. And it's really, like I said, it's going to be the DPS burn boss of the tier. Talent-wise, just use the standard single target build here. Nothing crazy or out of the ordinary. It's a pure single target fight through and through. Now, what's interesting about this fight is it has just two phases. Really, really simple. In the first phase, you're dropping fire puddles on the ground. You're soaking some mechanics and dodging stuff as normal. And then as long as you soak at least one of the brand casts that go on the tank, you'll get a debuff. You can only soak one per phase. When he goes into intermission, you'll actually get a damage dealt increase buff. Now, this is really, really important. The boss is going to have probably a lot of health, so it's important that you maximize this buff as much as possible. So about a minute into the fight, he's going to start the first intermission. So what we did for some of our pulls, we actually delayed cooldowns on pull. I was able to use Mindbender, Dark Ascension, but I saved Power Infusion and Potion, and then we lusted and burned everything on that first intermission. Because, again, like I said, as long as you're soaking, you'll get orbs that spawn out of your character. Everyone gets 5 that comes out of their character. And you have to soak all 5, and every single one that you soak increases your damage dealt by 20%, as well as healing taken or dealt as well. We don't care about healing, we just damage. Which, if you're doing the math correctly, it stacks up to 5. You'll get double damage in that intermission phase should you soak all 5 of the orbs that come out of your character. Now, what's important to note is that those orbs are only visible to you, so you can't soak anybody else's orbs. No one else can soak yours, which is important because if any of your orbs, or any orbs, hit the boss, he gets a permanent increasing damage done buff. 1% each one, I think. So you definitely want to make sure you're kind of like towards the back of the platform. You can see he knocks you back as you start the phase. Then you pick up all 5 of your orbs, and then you can kind of then begin your burn with whatever else you're doing. So timer's a little wanky, but again, you can delay stuff on pull to burn everything about a minute into the fight, which is what we did, to get that massive damage buff. Again, literally double your damage in that phase, so you definitely want to hold stuff if possible. So definitely want to make sure when you're doing this on live, especially, that you have timers for exactly when the phases are happening, because I have a feeling you're basically only going to want to use things like Power Infusion or Potion during that phase, and you do want to make sure that you have Dark Ascension and Mindbender at the very least for every single burn phase. It isn't like super like on the dot timings. So like the second intermission phase, I did not have all my 2 minutes back. I think they came up right as it ended. So yeah, exact fight timings of like when you use your cooldowns is going to be really critical here to make sure you're maximizing damage on the boss, because as we expect, it's probably going to be a pretty big burn boss. So the other things to kind of point out inside of phase 1 specifically is it's kind of, again, it's pretty cyclical. You're just going to be kind of going around the rune, dropping fire puddles. You'll probably get better about, baiting them and that kind of thing. And really it's kind of, you're just trying to live in that phase. Your damage is kind of a lower priority in that because, you're kind of waiting for the burn and doing double damage to actually smash them with stuff. So it's really critical that you can get mechanics down on this boss. So again, I think I draw a lot of comparisons to something like Sludge Fist or even Rashok, and it's really going to be a lot about, I think more like Sludge Fist, where just play cleanly, don't rush things, make sure your positioning is correct, and then once you get into those burn phases, just unload onto the boss, and that's kind of what this one's going to look like. So overall, I think it's actually a pretty cool boss, although it is kind of hard to see stuff. I mean, a lot of these mechanics, we've kind of seen that with like just a lot of overlapping colors that look vaguely the same, so it can be kind of hard to see where things are on the ground. But I think once we get our rhythm down and you get like timers of like when mechanics are happening, it should be pretty easy to like position your character correctly such that you're dealing with the boss in the right way. So hopefully you enjoyed that. We didn't actually end up killing this boss. We got very, very close. We just kept testing so many things. We ran out of time, unfortunately. So I have the footage of our best kill in the background. Hopefully it's been helpful. You enjoyed it, and I will see you next time for our next video. Thanks for watching.